Members of the board, my name is Cristina Fuentes, and I am a founding parent of Learning Without Limits. I was recruited by Leo Fuchs, our principal, who unfortunately could not be here tonight but wishes he could be. I was an original member of the design team. Actually, the name of the school was in fact my brainchild. I wanted a name that would convey what I wanted for my children, that their learning was limitless, that their capacity was limitless, their curiosity would be limitless. I want them to be lifelong thinkers and doers, and for this and for many other reasons, I hold this school very close to my heart. The design team developed the vision statement with clear thought about what each piece means. For instance, when we say that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, we're talking about us as parents. Parents being the first teachers and teaching our children and having them learn from our culture and our history. As a community building tool, this vision is recited every morning by all students, staff, and parents. And I would like to welcome my children to lead us in the reading of this vision statement. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us as we grow into leaders who are passionate and care about making our world better. We're equipped with skills and knowledge, filled with curiosity, and we know that even when we face challenges, we will achieve. And as you can see, we have a lot of pride in our school, and I am proud of what our children are accomplishing. Our school is located in the Fruitvale district. The students who attend this school are neighborhood children. The student population is 55% Latino, 22% African American, 8% Asian, and the balance representing various ethnicities. 97% of our population is economically disadvantaged. 57% of our students are English language learners. And with that, I would like to pass it on to Manny Herrera, who is a second grade teacher.
Good evening, board members, Oakland community. My name is Manuel Herrera, and also Mr. H, because it's a tongue twister. And I am a second and third grade teacher at Learning Without Limits, and I want to present to you our program. A program that was built in the past 5 years. I'm one of the founding teachers, so I have had a lot to do with this program. And this program was developed even before the school even began. First off, emphasis on relationships. This is what it looks like in my classroom. When school starts, I do home visits. This year I did 14. With my previous year, I did 16. Why? Because relationships begin for me the moment I knock on the door and I say, here I am with my assessment boxes. I want you to see me interact with your child. I want to see you interact with your child so I can best learn right now instead of waiting those milliseconds when you pick up your child every day from school. And I really delve deep in for an hour and a half and sit with those families and talk about goals, what they want their children to gain. And it allows the families to enter a space that they often encounter as something scary. You know, I want our school buildings to be a comfortable space. And so therefore I meet them at their space so they can then enter our space in a whole new way. And this is due to our principal making decisions on our calendar and decisions he's made with teachers and the school site council. And what's made me more proud is that more and more teachers at our school are doing home visits. Balanced approach to literacy. You walk into my classroom, you see components of open court that work. You see components of guided reading that work. You see components of, GLAD strategies that work. And I appreciate Board Member Gallo for being present in our school, you know, and seeing some of these things. And unfortunately, others that say represent me as a teacher. Betty, I haven't seen, and so unfortunately those who say they represent me as a teacher haven't seen these things in action. So those who have seen it, I thank you for that. Academic intervention occurs during and after school due to the commitment we have made as a staff to excel all our students' reading math abilities. Intervention is focused, targeted, and individualized by ongoing assessments. This is also due to decision-making made by our principal and school site council. Learning targets and authentic assessments. I our diverse population requires multiple forms of assessments. There's no way we can assess just using one form, which is what Oakland Unified gives us. So therefore, we have searched and researched and found what works for our students. Equity Center professional learning communities. When I meet with my grade level team, it is always a reflective practice around positive gains for our students. My constant work with my team drives my instruction every day. We share best instructional practices. Time and pay for these communities come, again, from our principal working closely with our school site council and the teachers. And of course, we have high and clear expectations for all our students. And I would like to say that this program has also been viewed directly by leaders of Education for Change, teachers from other schools from Education for Change. And I know that they're not going to ask me to dismantle, they're going to ask me to improve, they're going to ask me to share. Thank you. And now we're going to have Morgan Alcontra.
Good evening. My name is Morgan Alcontra, and I'm a founding teacher at Learning Without Limits. I currently teach 5th grade. I'm going to speak to you for a moment about the results and the progress we've made. Since our inception, we've worked really hard to backwards plan and seek and identify the high leverage skills and the learning targets required to really get our kids on the path to college. We consider each one of our students as individuals with differing needs, and we use that data-driven instruction and the relationships that we build to really target those differing needs. In 2007, when our campus was Jefferson Elementary School in its last year, there were 14% of the students on campus proficient in ELA. In math, there were 25% of the kids on campus proficient. Now, as LWL, we have 39% of our students proficient in ELA and 60% of our students proficient in math. We are really excited about that progress and that success. At the same time, we're not satisfied. We know that we have a long way to go, and all of our staff and our community is committed to making those gains. I'm going to pass it to Jessica Evans.
My name is Jessica Evans, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer at Education for Change. And I'm here to talk about the changes that have been occurring at Education for Change and why those shifts make the partnership a good match. Current EFC schools have been undergoing a revisioning process, which we call EFC V2. The staff at the 3 schools have been constructing a plan that builds on past academic success to increase student achievement and to build stronger family and community partnerships. We feel that we can increase our student achievement by focusing on differentiation, increasing our standards focus, creating more opportunities for student-directed inquiry, and continuing to develop critical thinking skills. We want to be sure that our students are prepared to compete in the highest performing middle schools. We are also focusing on building our family leadership structures so that parents are both informed and empowered. As you can see from the chart, EFC has a proven track record of improving student achievement with similar populations. We have a strong team with the experience and the capacity to grow.
I'm going to speak to you for a moment about the partnership between the new AFC and LWL. So key conditions is our first item up there, and as you've heard tonight, there are 4 specific autonomies that we believe all schools need in order to really meet the needs of their students. These autonomies are currently at risk within the district, and they're ones that were granted to us as a small school when we began. This move for us is a way for us to protect our school and our families, but also hopefully to inspire the district to provide and protect these autonomies for all Oakland schools, specifically around budget, staffing, curriculum and instruction, and schedule and calendar. Tonight, I would like to emphasize budget and staffing. Budget is really important to our site. We believe that sites know what's best for students and that they're best equipped to make those decisions about how to channel the money to the students. At our school, we make these decisions as a community and everyone is involved. So all stakeholders are part of that conversation. Staffing, as Larissa said earlier, is very near and dear to our work at LWL. We have very strategically built a team comprised of people that are all really committed to this work and share a common goal, and everyone is willing to be there and do the work that it takes to really meet our students' needs. Additionally, the EFC and LWL have really aligned missions. Our long-term goals are similar. We have a number one priority of keeping our kids on the path to college. We are also very committed to teaching high poverty schools and to really teach the community and the students in our existing neighborhood, the families that live and thrive there now. Lastly, collaboration is crucial to both organizations, and we're really looking forward to entering into a partnership where we can grow our professional learning communities and share best practices for what works best for kids. Thank you.
And on the EFC side, we feel like the partnership also makes a lot of sense. We want all of our schools to have a coherent instructional model, but at the site level, but we can learn from one another. We will have a shared focus on the CMO level, things like standards-based instruction and standards-based assessments, data-driven cycles of inquiry, collaborative professional development, response to intervention for interventions both behavioral and academic, and family leadership structures. There are mutual benefits for both organizations. For EFC, this would be a constellation of schools that can learn from one another's successes, and so everyone can improve. We can learn from each other's best practices. For instance, a group of teachers at EFC are currently piloting the integration of small group guided reading practices into our instructional model. This is a strength at Learning Without Limits, and we can learn from their work. EFC has had a lot of growth in mathematics, particularly due to the relational thinking strategies. And this is an area of interest for the Learning Without Limits community. And now we'd like you to hear from one of our parents.
Hello everyone, my name is Kathy Cash, and I'm a parent of a kindergartner at Learning Without Limits. At the beginning of this year, my daughter Sophia was set to start kindergarten at another school, which she attended on August 29. Later on that day, I rushed her to the emergency room, come to find out the pollen count was more than she could handle. That night, I stayed up stressing over her missing her first week of school. The morning of August 30th, I woke up and I went to the school district office and got this transfer papers, and by 10 o'clock in the morning, I was walking in Learning Without Limits for the first time. I was smilingly welcomed by Michelle. After telling her the kind of morning I had that day, she said to me, and I quote, "Don't worry, honey, we will get you set up." She worked her magic, and then she asked, "Do you want your daughter to start today?" At that moment, I felt the world lifted off my shoulders, and my daughter was walking in her classroom, her new classroom, for the very first time by 10:30. I was given a tour and introduced by some staff member, by the principal himself, Mr. Fuchs. I have never gotten that kind of attention before, and I knew just then my daughter was at the right place and in the right hands. The staff member at Learning Without Limits were hand-selected by a Learning Without Limits team and Mr. Fuchs, the principal. And it pleases me to note that great decision-making came within that school. I personally know about decision-making. I was a policy council alternate at 92nd Head Start, where we voted on very important things such as budget, nutrition, and representatives. And so I know that becoming a charter school will give us the power to keep great teams like the ones we have, and also to continue making good decisions that will empower our kids. Thank you. And now we'll hear from another parent.
Good evening. My name is Nabila. I'm a parent. I have 3 children at Learning Without Limit. It was 2 years ago when my wife and I decided to look for a small school. We couldn't find any. Then we decided to search. We went to school, after school, another school. One day we found this small school, went there 4 times. We went to classrooms. They gave us the opportunity to get into the classrooms and visit these classrooms, which we did. Then we came to find that this is the school we wanted. Why? Because of the association, teachers and students, the intervention, the staff, the work the staff do, how they get involved with the student. It really impressed me. I began to think about these other schools where my children were attending. But one thing that really impressed me, It was 2 months ago when my Learning Without Limit soccer team went to play a team in East Oakland. While I was standing, a boy came to me and said, "Are you David's father?" I said, "Yes." Then he said, "Is David still at Learning Without Limit?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, he's there." David was playing. So he said, "Oh, God, I love that school. The teachers are so good. They helped me with my work."
We do need you to wrap up your presentation.
Thank you. So anyway, the young man was so disappointed. So I told him, if you have chance, you can visit Learning Without Limit. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could really just keep it to one sentence.
This is just the closure piece. It's more than one sentence.
You've exceeded your 15 minutes, so I need to ask you to be very brief.
Okay.
I'll
Well, my
give you
name
about
is Rachel
10,
Amsterdam.
15
I'm
seconds.
a founding teacher of LWL, and I wanted to share with you that the decision to submit this charter petition was a heart-wrenching one to reach. Nonetheless, we don't believe that our students or any student in this school district has 5 years to wait for the strategic plan to come into fruition. The dismal status quo in this city is unbelievable, and we need to work to have this community safe for our students. They don't have 5 years to wait. They're in elementary school now.